Alright guys, what is up? Welcome back to another GeoGuessr video, another Open Major Qualifying episode here. We have a good amount of games on deck. I think I might just run through them all, make this a super long episode, because I feel like I played pretty well. I was just kind of locked in, like honestly, is probably the best way to put it. So let's just hop into it all. I'll try to commentate over it all. I'm once again getting this done super last minute, so hopefully nothing goes wrong with the video, essentially. But I'll see you guys when we hop into the analysis here. All right, so our first game here is against Cactus or Tarcsa. I don't want to mess up the name, but yeah, I usually just call them Cactus. A lot of the Geo community does as well. As we hop into a Peru here, we can tell by the stripy signpost, stripy chevron post as well. Yeah, we're kind of just on a curving road here. And yeah, I kind of just go for a lineup. I don't really have too much to talk about on this round. I thought it could have been pretty far south, but I really wasn't confident enough to commit. Like, you can see me pushing down towards Arequipa there. But yeah, it just ends up being the Tacna road that's near the border, and you see I give it a little bit of a screen shake because, you know, I'm quite mad at myself. Like, maybe I should be knowing that road, but not the easiest location at the end of the day as we hop into round two. And we are in Argentina here with the double yellow lines plus the poles here. That pole is especially Argentinian there, that A-frame pole that kind of looks like a huge ladder with missing rungs, essentially. I do notice that we do have a pretty big mountain to our west and also to our northeast. So yeah, I just think the San Juan area fits with that mountain. And looking for the 5K, couldn't exactly line it up. Like, for some reason, I'm having mad issues right now. But I should have realized that we were a bit more south, and there's one part of that 246 road that just lines up there, and Tarcsa pretty much on it. That's going to be 118 points, but not a significant amount here, round three. We just get an Iceland here. I notice that, I mean, after reading that, just to confirm, but yeah. I noticed that we have a bit of a red tint to the car. You can see me do a little double take there with the zoom, but the red tint pretty much means you're in the south part, and thought it fit for Reykjavik. I did notice we had a pretty sizable hill to the south. I noticed on the initial pan, and we do have a hill to the north as well, so I was trying to figure out where that really lined up, and I just settled on a bit more inland here. But it actually ends up being quite close to Reykjavik here, as we'll see now. And yeah, it's just that hill, which makes a lot of sense. Didn't exactly see the airfield there, but makes sense with that ridge to the north as well. Just lines up too well, but we pick up 61 points for that, and we move in around 4. In Guatemala here, and I noticed that we're on a river. Obviously, in this, I'm trying my best to 5K everything. I feel like in some situations, I would probably just slam, but we're going to try our best to pick up as many points as we can on any round, or at least onto our opponent. I noticed there's a river north here. It looked kind of wrong, especially with the valley to the west, but it was the best that I got, and I didn't eventually, like, you'll see where it is. It's all the way west, which, I probably could have looked at because the valley shape looks quite good there, but I'm not even sure if I'm sending on a road that has coverage, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I'm sure the mountains look different there, but we're moving around 5. It says Tayabo, San Jose City, and that looks like a northern trike to me. Check the copyright as well, 2024, typical Diono activities. And we look at Luzon because I think the guardrails on the side of the road with those cinder blocks kind of make sense. And yeah, we notice it there, San Jose City, and then it says Tayabo right there. And we look for the lineup. Yeah, not the best lining up for me, but I only had a few seconds, and it was just a bit more north there. So we both find it. It's going to end up being 8 points at the end of the day, and we hop in around 6, double damage. And we are in Kenya here with the snorkel. I noticed that there's a, like, pretty flat to the south there. Maybe a ridge, potentially. Something to the southeast. I think Amboseli National Park is kind of trolling. But, like, it is very foggy. Like, I don't know. I thought maybe it was hiding a mountain. I haven't looked there to see if I could see a mountain like northwest or something. Because there is a ridge in that park. But yeah, I just end up hedging Chiulu Hills, and it just ends up being downtown Nairobi. Yeah, makes sense. I feel like there's a good amount of national park coverage there. And moving around 7, 2.5x damage now. In a what looks like a Norway. 2024. This kind of road, plus those huge rocky mountains. You know, we're looking at the back of the car with the blue, where the antenna would be. Not to be mistaken with the front of the car. And yeah, just pretty straightforward Norway here. And it does end up being a bit further south, northwest of Kristiansand there. And yeah, we'll hop into round 8 now. Triple damage. In a weird one, because I checked this one out, and it actually does look, I mean, we have an American flag there. Probably could have been looking for that, but I did notice that we had a US car blur, which means we had 1 bump on the front mirrors, as opposed to 2 that you would get in Canada. And yeah, just said Maine, because it really just does look like Maine. The trees feel very north. It has a very Canadian, like, latitude-wise vibe. So I thought Maine fit the best. And yeah, it does end up being Maine right on the New Hampshire border, but we get the state right, and we pick up 1371, which is quite a big chunk. In the US, region guessing is pretty important. Round 9, 3.5x damage. We have a red car here and blistering red soil. And both of those things should equal WA. And yeah, I don't know why I've sent there, to be completely honest with you. It was 2024, and yeah, I don't know. It's a bit silly of a guess there, but ends up being southwest of Perth. I guess south of Perth, but yeah, moving around 10, we lose some points. As we move into this round, which I thought was quite interesting, pretty Italian-looking vineyards and houses here. I actually didn't recognize that was the coast there to the northwest. I just assumed we were looking into the flattest part of Po Valley. So you see me scanning some of the hills that like kind of roll into Po Valley a little bit, and I'm looking for like a standalone hill because it's so weird that it's completely flat to the northwest here. So I am a little bit confused as to where this could possibly be. If I'd realized that was the coast, then maybe we could have picked that one up, because it makes so much sense. Very flat there, and it's very flat because we are quite close to the coast there, and that explains why we didn't see anything really west. All right, white car here, 2020 something. I didn't exactly see, but yeah, very, very red soil. Looking at these poles, and I think I spot one pole here. Where is the pole? That's a trident right there, with that trident top, which I have seen a lot in Paraná, to be fair, and that's why I end up going here. I think Goiás is also a reasonable guess, and that's where Cactus is gone. But I think with this rolling hills landscape and the blistering red soil, that's kind of what I thought, and yeah, we end up getting the win off of that. Yeah, pretty boring game, and it just really came down to the Brazil region guess at the end. So, yeah, me and Cactus came into my chat, and he kind of talked to me about it afterwards, and he was like, yeah, very boring game, and yeah, I kind of agreed with him. And yeah, we'll hop into the next game here, and we get ALFA here, 1977. We'll just hop into round 1. And this road immediately, 2023, very dirt road. I noticed that it is curving slightly, like to the east there. And it's just a road that I recognize. Red backlight with light blue car, I think. Very, very distinct road here on the 1. A lot of this one is not paved. I want to say, I don't know if it's completely unpaved throughout, but a lot of it is quite unpaved, and it's a pretty recognizable road. In that case, but yeah, I just thought it looked good. Didn't get the angle right, but yeah, I don't know what I'm doing with the map there, but yeah, it does end up being there, which is a good guess, and we take the early lead here, 2,098 points, and let's hop into round 2, in which we get we have German on the sign here. And a pretty big looking Alpine-esque mountain. I wasn't completely sold on where I sent. It is 2023, but it is no car. So I was like, maybe this is just updated copyright Austria. Like, it makes sense. Austria has like a lot more no car than Germany does, to my knowledge. But I don't know how that changes as you get into the Alpine regions. But it actually ends up being that little pocket of Germany. Pretty findable, honestly, if you know you're looking in Germany. But yeah, just ends up being in Germany. I send the exploding head. He sends one back. We hop into round 3. Yeah, counting the ridges on the insulators there, it looks like we have 6 or 7. 5 is usually the normal amount. If you have 6 or 7, usually go either Peninsula or Chiang Mai. And it does end up being Surat Thani there. Nice guess by ALFA. You lose 158 points there. So both getting the Peninsula. I think it's Surat Thani and down in the provinces that have the larger insulators. All right, this is a interesting round. Like, maybe I could have cooked this a little bit harder. We do have like a huge abundance of palms here, and the architecture kind of just feels coastal. Like, it's very flat, a little swampy in ways. So like one could make the assumption that you're on the coast, and I just end up sending like hedging for Sierra and like the Rio Grande do Norte coast, and it just ends up being Natal outskirts, which certainly makes sense. And we're just on some like old fort or factory POI or something like that. We have it around 5, 1.5x damage now. In what looks like Argentina to me, didn't exactly strike me as Peru, especially with this soil. And just felt a bit more south and didn't feel like we were too high altitude here. There's not too many places in Peru that would fit. And yeah, I'm kind of scanning like, I don't know, like San Juan area, because to me this looks like the western mountains outside of San Juan and Mendoza, but I'm really not sure, honestly, and I think I just end up hedging for this, and it just ends up being in South San Juan, so we do get the state, but yeah, kind of not the road that I was expected to be looking for, or what I expected it to be. But yeah, they are a bit closer in Mendoza there. As we move in around 6, double damage in a little bit of Brazil, and yeah, I mean, I very much so struggle with Amazonian Brazil, and yeah, I couldn't decipher if I wanted to go like which one is this? Where do I go here? Let's see. I think one of the ways to learn Amazonian Brazil is to learn the car colors and the copyright, I guess, but another way is to just kind of vibe it like me, and then 90% of the time, you'll be wrong. But yeah, it just ends up happening. I send Maraba. Yeah, I was a bit worried about Rondônia. You see me giving it the circle there. What's sad is if I had sent Rondônia there, we would have stayed alive, but it just ends up being Acre near Rio Branco. And yeah, that's going to be enough for the one shot, basically. And we lose 15 rating for that. Yeah, I'm just curious, like, did they switch at all at any point in time? But no, it looks like they just sent Rondônia the entire time. So yeah, good guesses by them. I don't know why I watched this one back. Why did I watch this back? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, we get the loss there, essentially, but 15 rating down the drain, but it's okay. We've got another game to hop into, and I'll see you guys when we get to that game. All right, here we are. We hop into a game against Vegetal here, starting at 1849. And we're at 1943, so we cannot afford this loss. We are in 2023 copyright. Looks like a striped car here. Looks like Brazil, very red soil, and a very dry climate. This kind of reminds me of stuff that I've seen in northern Minas Gerais. So we end up sending there. It ends up being a bit more east of our plonk, but we will take the 223 points and move into round 2. In a little bit of Ecuador, to me, it feels like that high altitude stuff that you can get near Cuenca. So yeah, I believe that's where I end up sending, right? I probably should be knowing the road here. But yeah, I don't know. We just end up clicking somewhere there in general, and it ends up being that road going to Cuenca. So Yeah, probably a very learnable road, if I'm being completely honest with you. But on no multis, Dave sent immediately, so, I don't think we're going to be trying to cook anything, because I don't think they've lined anything up unless they know the 5K. All right, this one might have been a bit of an overcook for me. I thought the foliage looked a bit more south, but like that's why I go like south of Zaporizhzhia, but like it just ends up being west of Kiev. So I don't know. Like I feel like Ukraine is probably cookable, but yeah, it's just not cookable for me on that round, as we have in round 4. And we're in a little bit of Cambodia. A lot of those Cambo-style palms, the ones that you get on the east coast of India as well. And yeah, I just clicked Phnom Penh here. I don't really feel like looking for this one. I feel like in Cambodia it's very hard to find something, but we get a very nice region guess from Vegetal there, so we only lose 136, but yeah, I mean, on no multis, Cambodia, not really going to bother too much. Round 5, 1.5x damage now. Yeah, we're in like a interesting Brazil town here, it looks like. We have a piranha pine. But to me, this doesn't look like the architecture that I would find in Piranha or Santa Catarina or Rio Grande do Sul. I feel like it's a bit more Portuguese, Brazilian inspired looking than it is like more so of that European German architecture, I guess, that you get a bit as you go further south. And I would have expected to see a house like that, but we have, I don't know. I don't really know the car as well. So I just ended up setting Sao Paulo here. I thought it was a reasonable hedge because it didn't feel like the 3 states down there, but it just ends up being Minas Gerais, Rio das Mortes, which means, I mean, if Spanish is Portuguese is like similar to Spanish, then it means like River of Death or something. But yeah, I'm not sure. A little bit morbid, but all right, this round, bro, I don't know what was going through my head. I mean, a bit of a spoiler here, but we do end up sending US for some reason. I don't know why. Like, if you look at this round, we have so many birches or whatever tree this is, with the white bark, that it just looks so north, right? But for some reason, I got mind controlled by the double yellow line. I can't even think of where in the US I would send here. So I feel like I send maybe the most reasonable send for the landscape because we are on a bit of a hill. So I just go Wisconsin. But like, yeah, there's just no way it's there, and it just ends up being Sask. Like, I don't know. We do a bit of trolling. I'm very fortunate not to have lost there, I will say. It does take a little bit of luck in duels sometimes. All right, we got an indented pole here, which is the first thing that I notice. It's pretty clear, which are found in the states of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, so I just hedge both. Maybe it feels a bit more coastal. Like, we have a palm there randomly. A couple of palms. Ends up being northern Andhra Pradesh. They're in Odisha. I'm not like super happy about that because, at least to my knowledge, you don't get the indented poles in Odisha, and they're closer, but it happens. Round 8, triple damage. And we move into a black car here. I was struggling to determine if this was Argentina or Uruguay. But I think I do spot a trident pole there. Yeah, there's the zoom in there. Which is like 95 to 97%, like mostly Uruguay. Landscape looks very Uruguay anyway. It's like autumn as well, Gen 3. And I overcook it once again because, like, I don't know. Like, I saw a palm, and I got mind controlled into thinking it was east. And it just ends up being Colonia del Sacramento, which, yeah. I mean, very findable angle, to be fair. You just got to know where to scan. If I had a bit more time to scan there, I probably could have maybe thought of it. All right. Moving to this round here. Looks like it's clearly Mexico. We have a very wide shoulder, but a single yellow line. Yeah, to me, it looks like foliage is and the flora is consistent to stuff that I've seen in like Texas. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking that Texas border here. It's quite green. And yeah, I'm just looking for a lineup in Tamaulipas. Settle on this road. I think it makes a lot of sense. And that angle's okay. So I just send there. I guess it takes me a little bit to send because I'm not I wasn't like super confident that it was Tamaulipas, but I was like 90% sure. But I just have to rule stuff out just in case. This stretch of road looks okay because there's not as many POIs there, which means like we're not surrounded. But yeah, it just ends up being north, going to Matamoros. So that's going to be 766 points for the better region guess. And we happen around 10 quad damage. We actually do get the road, but all right. We hop into this round. A couple of wooden poles here. That's a rounded pole as well there. Striped car 23. The landscape looks super similar to stuff that I've seen in Uruguay. And we have a trident pole here, which in Brazil is quite common in Rio Grande do Sul. And can especially be found like places pretty close to Uruguay. Don't quote me on that meta, but it's worked for me. I guess Uruguay maybe loans Brazil some of their poles, but yeah. Also, it's a dirt road here. Like a lot of the roads near the Uruguay border and the Corrientes Misiones border, it's gonna have like not as many paved roads. Unfortunate not to win on that. I think I'm lamenting not sending a bit more west, but happens round 11, 4.5. We move into this round. I would like to win here, ideally. Because, yeah, I just don't want it to get into higher multis here. But I think I saw one Assam palm there. I also see a lot of English, which is quite common in Assam, I would say. Like, I feel like in a lot of other states, you would see whatever native language that they use. Yeah, we see an Assam palm there in the distance, I think. So, yeah, I end up sending Assam. I know they speak Assamese or something, right? Something like that. I don't want to seem ignorant, but I think that makes sense. But the other thing that I noticed is that wood fence around that metal house seems very like Bangladesh in a way. And it felt similar to stuff that I've seen in Bangladesh, so I thought Assam was reasonable. And yeah, we end up getting a pretty decent region guess there. And we end up picking up the win off of that. So quite big. We pick up another 12 rating for it. We might have trolled a little bit earlier in the game, but we do pick up the win. So we get 12 rating. All right, and we get a no-move game against DerZiggi, 1946 ELO. We're pretty similar in ELO. We hop into round 1. Like with all things considered, a very weird Australia round. We have what I think is dark blue car. Or is it light blue car? I can't really see, but I guess I don't really look at it. But to me, I was struggling to figure out where I wanted to go here. It didn't feel... Yeah, it is light blue car. 2025 as well, which kind of threw me off, because I did not know what that meant. But yes, something about the red soil. You can kind of see a little bit of red soil on the sides of the roads and on that dirt track off behind the fence there. I just thought that was a bit weird for Victoria in most places. And the climate felt a little bit off for stuff that I'd seen in Vic. So I immediately ruled that out. I ruled out WA because it just doesn't look like WA or South Australia. So I eventually settled on Queensland here because I thought it kind of looked similar to stuff that I'd seen on the Queensland-New South Wales border. But yeah, I mean, you'll see where it is. Yeah, it just ends up being quite north in Queensland, west of Mackay, which I thought was interesting, but we do pick up 1875 for that, and we got the state, so I'll take it. Round 2. Moving to a Brazil round, which also is a little bit crazy. We have like a Paraguay-looking palm there, a couple of them. So immediately I'm thinking like Goiás, Sao Paulo, Mato Grosso do Sul, Parana, that area. And yeah, I mean, we have pretty red soil as well, so I think all of that checks out for me. And I think I end up going for the safer hedge here. I just hedge like the tri-point. And it just ends up being Mato Grosso do Sul. And we pick up another big 2209. So we have DerZiggi on the ropes here, 1917. Health left. And we're moving around 3. So pretty healthy lead. This round, yeah, it is summer. But I thought it felt a little bit coastal in the ways that the hills are just kind of here. Because as you get towards that middle part where the 5 is running through, I feel like it's a bit more flat. And it was coastal, but I probably should have clicked Temuco Coast because it was summer, like, and pretty clear summer as well. So, yeah, I mean, Ziggy just goes Temuco, picks up some points on me, and yeah, you just made the better guess there. All right, this one, I noticed some Spanish moss on the trees, which is quite common in both, like, southern Alabama, southern Georgia, and especially in Florida. And I had to just make sure it wasn't Arge for a second, but yeah, with the Spanish moss and that pole, like, I feel like, yeah. I mean, because you can get this striped car, or what looks like a striped car there. And yeah, we just end up clicking the same place, essentially, and it just ends up being on that Florida, Georgia border. Just south of Valdosta. Moving around 1.5. And this is Panama. I actually spent a lot of time on this, because it is 1.5x damage at the end of the day. And could be useful. First, I think about this volcano, but I don't really think that works with the hills surrounding us. Like, I kind of scrapped that idea. Like, I take a little look, but like, this is just much too populated. And it just doesn't fit because we have a hill to the west as well, which would not make sense if we're climbing up that volcano. I also don't even know if this has coverage, if I'm being honest. Like, if where I'm sending even has coverage on those white roads. Who knows? So I settle on a couple of other things. I mean, we scan looking for like a hill north like that, like a big hill, and then a hill to the west. My scanning does a little bit of trolling, but we do have like a somewhat consistent ridge there. And I'm looking, oh, does that really fit for the volcano? And then I decide, nah, it doesn't really. So I settle on this 33 road, which I think makes the most sense. Because as you can see here, like, I mean, that kind of lines up. But we have a ridge to the west, which I highlight there, and then a mountain to the north there, which I thought could be that. I can't really see what the road is doing up there. But it does look like it's curving, doesn't it? Like, slightly up there. And I mean, I realize this doesn't line up, but I thought this road was the best thing that I could get. So yeah, I just give it a little send. And actually it ends up being a little bit north up the road, which makes more sense with that mountain there being closer to it. But we pick up 75 points for it. I mean, not the most, but I'm happy that I got the road there. At least. Around 6, double damage. Using problem-solving skills, lining up landscapes is pretty important in no move, and yeah, I really don't hate no move as a mode right now. Just because I feel like my scanning is like at a pretty good level, I want to say. Not where I hope it should be, but yeah, at the same time. Okay, we are driving left here. We have some orange plantation there, it looks like. And I think we do have an antenna on this car, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we do. Which I thought, hey, I mean, the pole is concrete. It looks like, especially this pole to the southeast. I'll see if I zoom in on it again, but yeah, I was like, we have a hill to the east. I'm not sure if that's like big enough of a hill for it to be the Grampians. So I end up scanning like this area, but I feel like the ridge looks okay where the Grampians are. So I go for a scan here, like, yeah, I feel like the ridge angle might be off for what I'm scanning, because the Grampians ridge kind of goes pretty much north-south, whereas that ridge is slightly curving to the northwest, so probably should have scrapped that idea, but, I mean, we're trying to make educated guesses here, so I thought this was the best educated guess that I could come up with. And, you know, I figured Ziggy would maybe send Victoria as well, just because of the concrete pole. I just end up hedging Cavendish, I think. And we end up sending right? Or does Ziggy end up sending? I think it's me who initiates the send. Yeah, still looking for it. I didn't quite realize how long I took on this round. Yeah, we just end up sending there. Yeah, I was a bit worried about this stuff southeast of Melbourne as well, but I feel like it wouldn't be this dry, and you wouldn't get red soil there necessarily, so was scanning there, and it just ends up being Griffith, and the big Griffith Ridge there, which I guess now I know, and now I know you get antenna car in Griffith. Didn't know that. I don't know how I really said New South Wales there, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense. All right, we get Peru here. I think I checked copyright here, right? Do I? When did I check it? I must have checked it earlier, but I think it's 2023, which, with the clouds in the sky, remind me of stuff near Tingo Maria. Especially the stuff going through here. I feel like most of the stuff, like, a bit more north, doesn't really fit with the valleys that I'm trying to look at. I don't know. Like, I mean, this valley doesn't look that good. I'm kind of just assuming that there's a river to our south here, because we can't see off the side of the road. And I thought with what the valley was doing, it looks okay, and that the road could be continuing and curving through that valley. I haven't scanned here, which, yeah. But I thought that valley was a bit too wide, and it looks like you're going through the valley rather than through the mountains. I guess there would have fit. Yeah, I was thinking of switching just to the label, but yeah, we just end up sending where we sent. Yeah, I'm still looking at this road to see if anything really fits. But it ends up being a bit more south there, near Rio Negro. And yeah, just barely enough to get the lethal. And we end up picking up another 16 rating for that. So we're at 1971. All right, so we queue up again. We get another game against DerZiggi. Now at 1930 ELO, we're at 1971. As we hop into round one, we get Gen 3 Finland with snow on the ground, very wintry, very short tree line. Automatically with that Gen 3 and the winter coverage, just reminds me of the stuff on the white roads that you can get up here. Very distinct coverage, because I think this is one of the few places that wasn't recovered in Gen 4 or Ari. So you will get a lot of this old Gen 3 coverage, like very north of Rovaniemi there. And better region guess by Ziggy is going to net up some points as we hop into round two. With a Gujarat pull right in our face, and a little canal here. I was debating searching for this, because I do see a highway to the north, because it looks like we had a sign there, plus a pretty big car traveling on that road, like some kind of truck. So I ended up looking for something with a highway going north-south, with a canal also going north-south to its east. But yeah, I couldn't find anything really that worked. And yeah, it actually ends up being like on the coast here, which like theoretically is findable because it had the vision, right? Like it's going north-south. We have the canal going north-south with the road right next to it. But yeah, I mean, you would have to scan that coast for some reason. Round three. We move into a Gen 2 location, which in my opinion are actually kind of fun. I know that's not like a popular opinion, but when you get Gen 2 like European roulette sometimes, it's nice to be rewarded by just guessing the right country. I mean, this looks like Italy to me. We have Italian-looking villas there on the hills. Yeah, it just ends up being northeast of Florence in Tuscany, and that's going to be 130 points. So yeah, not too much damage done so far as we hop into round four. And we have, I think, is B. I couldn't tell if that was B or very B in the moment. Do I take a look at it again? I'm not sure that I do. I'm a bit concerned about this being a bit further east. But I think I just end up guessing that road north of Yekaterinburg, which I feel like is quite forested. So I'm kind of just hedging for stuff, and it ends up being actually south of Orenburg on the border with Kazakhstan. Yeah, I don't know. That's just something that you gotta know, I guess. Round five. We hop into this round, which 2023 copyright, blue car, and the architecture is looking quite German. But we have a lot of these brick buildings, which is something that you get more so northwest and north, like near Hamburg and stuff. But it does look like the flat areas around NRW, so I do end up clicking like west of Munster here. Yeah, because we do see a lot of brick buildings that kind of remind me of stuff that you would see in the Netherlands, but yeah, it's clearly not the Netherlands. Ends up being west of Duisburg there. And 316 points. We have outguessed Ziggy in his own country, and that's why he sends me the crying face. Moving around six. Yeah, bit of a weird one. Very dry coverage. 2023. Didn't give me a Taz vibe because the soil doesn't seem that dark to me, and the coverage is just super, super dry. So I end up clicking that area around ACT. I think I just end up clicking in ACT with that area that just like is super dry coverage like this. And I feel like a lot of the like Sydney and south of it kind of got this very dry coverage. And yeah, it just ends up being like Sydney latitude wise adjacent, but you know, a bit north of my guess. So we do end up picking up some points there as well. We're moving around 7, 2.5x damage now. And this one is very clearly B-type. And it's a pretty knowable road, I would say. You just get these short trees with shrubs, no birches in sight. It's very dry. Plus these rocky-looking shoulders. Just reminds me of this road south of Volgograd that goes to Alista, I think. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much scanning the road for an angle. And, I mean, that lines up, I guess. So we end up sending it, I think. Yep. I did notice this angle that looks pretty good. And that's why I shake the screen. But it actually ends up being further south of my guess. And we're on the curve. Which I didn't recognize for some reason that we were on the curve. But it makes a lot of sense that we are. Round 8, triple damage now. Alright, this round, immediately notice short antenna. These kind of like roads with mountains surrounding us on both sides. We kind of have like gray stuff peeking out on the mountains as well. And in Gen 3. Just remind me of the stuff that you get in Montenegro and in Albania. I wasn't sure which one it was, to be fair. I immediately zoom in here because I think this is a good hedge. Like, it looks like the most suspicious guess of all time. But yeah, I thought it was a good hedge because it reminded me of the stuff that you could get around Theth. I'm not sure if you get this short antenna this far up though in Montenegro. So because I feel like in Montenegro you have the short antenna that's mostly on the coast, and then you have the longer antenna that usually has rifts like 95% of the time, and that's like Podgorica and northeast of it. Or like that part, if you were to draw a line through Podgorica, bisecting it northwest to southeast, it's pretty much north of it. Like, I feel like the short antenna is mostly on the coast. So maybe I should just be guessing Albania here, but I really wasn't sure which one. So we kind of go for a hedge. It does end up being Albania, right on the other side of the border, but we do pick up the win off of that. So that's 3771 damage, and we pick up the win, 14 rating. We're up to 1985 now. And we got one last game for you guys, I think. All right, and it's a game against Clement, who's at 2143. So this could be huge elo for us if we were able to get this win. Possibly hop over 2K. I mean, we will hop over 2K if we win this game. And yeah, house on the right there. I kind of wanted to catch him off guard. Maybe he goes India there, but yeah, he's just too good to go India there, I think. It just ends up being Cambo. Especially with that house that looked like it was on stilts right in front of us on the road. I think it fit too well. All right, this round he insta-sends. I had to think about for a little bit because we have like foggy coverage, and I'm like, okay, yeah, foggy or like overcast plus like autumn coverage, I think makes sense for both Slovenia and Croatia in Gen 3. And I thought it looked a bit more Slovenian with the mountains. Like the mountains were kind of huge. Yeah, and we end up getting a nice guess down. He just goes Zagreb, which I think is quite reasonable as well. We're moving around 3. In a little bit of Argentina, and I'm not the best at region guessing this. Like, for me, this one looked like it could be like BA, Rosario, that area. I noticed the road is going slightly southeast, so just end up clicking a part of Cordoba, which I think lines up. But southeast angles exist in other places as well, and just ends up being San Miguel de Tucumán. But luckily Clement goes for a hedge as well, so we don't lose too many points. So we up in round 4. And yeah, this one I have a bit of a stinky blunder as well. We have yellow reflectors, which indicates Spain. We have some Spanish bollards as well. I think that says C something road. So I was trying to figure out what C was. Is it Cordoba? which is like here, and that's kind of where I looked first. But I noticed that's CO, so I'm automatically like, okay, I guess it's not there. I probably should have guessed off of what the landscape looked like to me. Like, if you look at the landscape, it looks slightly like stuff that you would see in Portugal, I guess. No spoilers, of course. Yeah, so I just debate ending up hedging middle. And then I'm like, C, what could C be? So I look in Catalonia, like it could be C. I mean, I see some C roads, but it's not the right ones, I feel like. So luckily, like, I end up making the switch here. Oh wait, do I actually send here? I might actually. Yeah, I do. It ends up being Extremadura, and it's Cáceres, which, like, I don't know how I didn't think of that. And there's not even a C on that road, I guess. Anyway, round 5, 1.5x damage. Moving to this round looks a little bit different from the Piranha locations that we had in the past, but like, with like all this dead grass, plus the blistering red soil, plus like some random trees, plantations, like just kind of bunched up. To me, it felt most like Piranha. And yeah, I mean, we end up getting the guess there. I mean, it just felt like it to me. I mean, that's probably the best way I can describe it, with that dead grass, very red soil, and a bunch of bunched up tree farms or plantations. All right, this round, I wasn't sure, but I was pretty sure we were driving right because I don't see the space for the antenna, where the antenna would be, or we would see the car driving left. Obviously, these road lines, I think there's a difference between French and English road lines, but I usually just go off of like what I think it looks like, and it is just France. It ends up being more south than I expected, but 962 points. Maybe I should just be going middle, but I thought Clement was going to try to cook a region guess because he is French. But yeah, this one, we are, I think I send like a crying emoji at Clement because like I have no idea what this is. It is just a dirt road. Yeah, there's the crying emoji. I don't think you guys can see it because my cam will be blocking it, but with a bunch of pine trees. And my first thought was like, Russia somewhere? Because I couldn't really place it in the Nordics. Like, it feels a bit too south for it to be Nordics for me. And I didn't really place it in the Baltics, but it just ends up being north of Lipaja there. We're very fortunate to only lose 60 points there, because I think we actually could have lost if he, like, 5K'd, essentially. All right, this round, I'm quite happy with my guess on this round. Like, I see some random hills, like, northeast here, and it reminds me of a lot of the stuff that I've seen, like, hills near Gothenburg. We see a couple white houses there as well, which is most common on that Gothenburg coast. So we end up getting a nice guess down. I've seen a lot of, like, random ridges, like, running up that side between Gothenburg and Jönköping. But yeah, moving around 9. We have him on 2173. This one wasn't too sure as well, but the pole there didn't feel Mexican to me, that metal pole on the left. I just felt like a weird valley. The house on the right here with the palm trees in front felt like stuff that I would see in Colombia a lot, especially with those tiled roofs and kind of that Spanish style feel to it. So it didn't really feel like Mexico to me, especially with the pole. So I'm like, what's the most reasonable guess here in Colombia? And because it's so flat, but we have some intermittent hills, I thought the Cali Valley was good, and it does end up being the Cali Valley. So we pick up another 494 here. And yeah, I mean, this is why critical thinking skills are important, because these points actually matter at the end of the day. And you guys will see. But yeah, we move into this round, like, looks very Bali. We have some blue paint on the pole as well, which I think is quite common in Bali. That's why we send there, pretty much. And that ends up being another 104. So we have him on 1575 health. I think this is the round. No, this is not the round. Yeah, crazy rush around. I forgot this round was... This is probably the round before. But yeah, crazy rush around here. I'm like, I think it's winter. Although some of the trees are still blooming. Or like, it looks like it might be blooming soon. It's very hard for me to judge seasons. But a lot of the trees are just dead. So I'm like, okay, maybe I just head for Kazan and then I click most of the winter stuff. But it ends up being Tula, which... I don't know. I think I need Finbar to explain that one to me. But yeah, we're pretty much on even health now. Yeah, we're moving around 12, 5x damage now. And what's funny about this location is I know it immediately because in between games, I was looking in Sword Slicer's Discord and I saw that Lubick had sent a location and he said, "Oh, I think I just went Hawaii on Florida or something." And then he sent the location and it was this location, which is crazy that I just looked at it 5 minutes before. And yeah, it ends up being Guam. And yeah, we end up picking up the win off of that. Like the Bali region guess, or like the Bali points that I picked up, and the Cali Valley points that I picked up actually got me the win there. So every point does matter. All right, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed the extended episode. It was a lot of fun for me to film. I like talking back over my guesses and seeing what I could have done better, what I did wrong. Kind of just improving at the game. It's like a little bit of VOD review that you do for any esport, which I think is quite cool. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. And yeah, let me know if you guys want to see more of this in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for another GeoGuessr video. Peace.